So HubSpot, as we all know by now, it's a CRM tool that we use to keep track of our sales, no matter in which point of time or in which stage that sale is in. And the three core concepts that help you in tracking a sale, no matter at what stage they are in, are the following. We will be taking a look at contacts, which is on the left hand side that you see. We'll be taking a look at companies, which is again within the contacts main menu. And we'll also be taking a look at something called as deals, which is under the sales menu over here. Let me quickly jump to the HubSpot tool now. So here we can see that under the contacts main menu, we have contacts as a sub menu, and that's our building block one. We then have companies, that's our building block two, and here under sales we have something called as deals, that's our building block three. What I'll do is I'll give a brief explanation about each of these building blocks, and then let's see how these three things kind of come together. So to load the contacts page, I would just go to the contacts main menu, and then I would click on contacts as a sub menu. Now what happens over here is I have a tabular structure over here right at the center of the screen, and this shows me the existing contacts that I have in HubSpot. Now let's say that I'm trying to generate a lead, and let's say that this is a lead that I've got by talking to somebody on LinkedIn, and now that I have an initial level interest from that particular person, I would like to track that person here on my HubSpot tool. So to that effect, I'll have to create a new contact once I generate a new conversation on LinkedIn. So for the purpose of demonstration, let's take the person's name as Jivak. And the way I will create a contact is I click on create contact right over here on top right where you see create contact. I will then just enter the entire email ID of the person who I'm trying to stay in touch with. And then I'll fill out a few basic details such as the first name, the last name. If I know the job title, then the job title. So let's say I'm talking to the chief business officer. If I know the phone number, then I'll go for the phone number as well. And then there is something called as lifecycle stage and lead status. Lifecycle stage essentially represents that how serious is this lead for you in terms of for you to carry out your sale process. So if you mark a contact as a subscriber, then it essentially means that you really haven't had a real conversation with this particular lead yet. You're just trying to send different forms of marketing collaterals with the hope that he's going to like some of them and is going to inquire more about your products and services to you. So that's this. If that's the case with respect to your lead, then that's when you will mark the lead as a subscriber. If you mark the lead as a lead over here, then that means that the lead has some basic interest. Maybe he has received 5 or 10 content pieces from you, and now he has inquired back saying that he wants to learn more about the product. Uh, if the lead has interacted with your content in more than one ways, so let's say that he regularly opens your emails, he maybe shares your content on LinkedIn, right, or he maybe comments on your content on Facebook. So if he's interacting with your contents in multiple ways, or essentially if you find this lead to be more serious than the previous stage that I defined for, that's when you would mark this as a marketing qualified lead. You would mark the person as a sales qualified lead if you have established the fact that the problem statement that is coming with and the product suite that you have more or less go in the same direction. That's when you would call the person as a sales qualified lead. You would mark this as an opportunity if you really feel that there is a scope for actually having or going for a deal over here. That's when you would go for an opportunity. And similarly, you have other few stages such as customer evangelist, and if none of these things fit best for you, then you can go for other as well. So for the purpose of this demonstration, again, what I will do is maybe I'll just mark this person as a lead, and lead status essentially means that within the scope of the life cycle stage, how frequently are you interacting with this person? So if I'm marking this person as new, then it essentially means that maybe he has inquired after I've sent him 5 or 10 marketing contents, and he's inquired me more about my products and services. And this is that point in time where I haven't replied to him yet. I'm just feeling happy seeing that he has responded to me, and therefore I would mark the value as new over here. The next stage is open. This is something that I would go for when I'm actively exchanging emails or exchanging calls with this given person. So that's when I'd go for open. In progress is an extension of open when your conversation is happening even more frequently. Open deal is something when I mark my life cycle stage over here as opportunity. That's when I'm confident of having a deal with the person, or I think that I can have a deal with the person. And that's when I would mark here as an open deal. Unqualified is when I talk to the person and I figure out that the problem statement that he has and the product suite that I have to offer, they don't really go in the same direction. Rather, there's some sort of a gap that my product cannot cover for him. That's when I would call a lead as an unqualified lead. So in this way, again, whatever makes the most sense, you could mark that. So let's say that I am going to put this as open, and then I would click on create a contact. The moment I have created a contact, I would be redirected to another page of this kind, wherein this entire page is dedicated to Jiva Ghosh, the contact that I've created just now. And you can see a lot of tabs on the top which read as notes, emails, calls, tasks, and meetings. These are the different ways in which you can stay in touch with your contact, right? So let's say that you're talking to your lead or Jivak in this case, and as you're talking to him, you try to understand more you try to understand more about where he is coming from, what his problem statement is, why is he talking to you, what's his motivation. So as you understand all of those things, you would like to take notes, and you can add notes over here. Similarly, if you have to send emails, then those emails can be tracked over here. Your calls would be tracked over here. Your meetings would be tracked over here. And activity is nothing but it's a consolidated view of all of these different task types. So let's say that if I were to create a note, let me say that Gwork is trying to solve problem 1 and feature 5 of my product 2 can help solve this. So let's say if this is the quick note that I'm taking, I have saved a note over here. Similarly, let's say that I want to log a meeting, right? So, and as part of this meeting, say I took a few other notes. I discussed with Jivak that the problem statement is well understood. Jivak is interested in the way my product helps solve the problem statement. So let's say this is some kind of a note that I've taken during the meeting. Now this is a meeting that I've logged over here. Once I come back to activity, I see my note, I see my log meeting, I see all of this, right? So that's how you would use this. Now let's take a little bit of our attention to the left-hand side. The properties that we entered while we were creating Jiva Ghosh as a contact. So some of those you can see on the left-hand side. However, these are not the only properties or attributes associated with a contact. There are a lot of properties that are associated with a contact. And for you to take a look at all of those properties, or for you to edit the values of some of those properties, what you can do is you can click on View All Properties over here, and that takes you to the property page, wherein all the properties are logically grouped into different sections. As you can see here, properties that pertain to this contact, properties that pertain to this deal, which in turn might be associated with a contact. Then there are different kind of sale properties, different kind of contact information properties, so on and so forth. And you also have some marketing oriented things such as web analytics history, conversion information, and so on and so forth. So these are the kind of properties that you can see over here, and any of these properties could be changed at any point in time. So that's about the properties. And now let me just come back to the main screen of contacts. On the screen, I want to show you that as we create contacts one after the other, you would see that those contacts get added to the table over here automatically, right? So that's the first building block over here. The second building block is companies. Now, the cool thing about HubSpot is that companies are automatically created in HubSpot, and the way that happens is based on the email domain that is provided at the time of creating a contact. So as I created Jiva Ghosh as a contact, you can see here that a company called Career Labs is automatically created right here. So if I click on Career Labs over here, you can see that uh, this is a page that is dedicated to this particular company, which is Career Labs. The center of the screen looks very familiar or very similar to that of a contact screen, wherein you have notes, emails, chats, tasks, and meetings. The way or the difference between interpreting these activities over here versus similar activities in the context of a contact is that in case of a contact, all the activities that have been done with respect to that one contact will be tracked under that contact screen. But here in the case of a company, no matter who you have interacted with, as long as that person belongs to a given company, all such interactions at a company level is something that you will see over here. So you can see on the right hand side that with this company, Career Labs, there are two contacts that are associated. One is Jeeva Ghosh that I created just now. The other is Abhishek Gupta that I created some time ago. And if you look at the activity section, you can see here that this note that I've added, wherein it reads as Abhishek is trying to solve problem 1 and problem 2, this is something that I added as an activity against Abhishek as a contact card, and this was done on September 4th. And I added a note today against Jeevak, and I further logged a meeting today against Jeevak, and I've added respective remarks. And you can see that the activity that I've done across anybody, as long as the person belongs to Career Labs, all of those activities can be tracked at a single place. Now, similar to contact again, a company also has a lot of attributes associated with it. And to view all properties, you can click on view all properties over here, and then you can further edit any property at any point in time. So that's our second building block, which is company. Now we'll go to the final building block, which is deals. To access deals, you will have to click on sales in the main menu and click on deals over here. And to create a deal, what you would do is you would create a deal button over here, and then you would fill out the details over here. But I told you that before you create a deal, you should ensure that your contact should have reached to that particular state. So what I will do is say that I've had sufficient amount of conversations with Jeevak. So now I will open Jeevak's contact card and I'm going to update these things. So let's say that I update Jeevak as a marketing qualified lead. Say eventually he is going to move as a sales qualified lead, and then there's going to be a point where I'm going to open an opportunity against Jeevak, and the lead status I'll mark it as open deal and then click it. I'll save these changes. Only once I've reached to this state, that is opportunity in lifecycle stage and open deal in lead status as a property, that's when it's appropriate for me to create a deal. So now I'll go back to the deals page and I'll click on create deal and say I give the deal name. So let's say content creation software for Career Labs. Let's say that's what this deal is all about. And I can choose my pipeline over here. So a pipeline is nothing but a group of a few of the deal stages, and you can create multiple such pipelines depending upon the different user cohorts that you have or the different types of deal that you have. I think in just a couple of more minutes this will be more clear to you. Now in deal stage, again you would mark the right option for here. So let's say I have spoken to Jeevak so far in an unofficial manner, if I can say so, wherein the intent was to understand what his problem point is and how my product can help solve for that. Now, once I've established this rapport with Jeevak, and as I'm creating a deal now, I will now schedule my first formal call, wherein the attempt is not just for me to solve this problem, but now my agenda is also to ensure that I'm able to sell my product. So I'll mark the deal status appointment date scheduled. I would like to mention the amount as well. So let's say if the potential deal value is 1 lakh rupees, then that's something that I would mark over here. Then this is the deal owner. So you can assign this to any account executive within the company. By default, this is going to be assigned to me because I'm logged into HubSpot, but I can mark this as somebody else as well. And then if I have to associate any company with this deal, then I can do that. So of course, I'm going to associate Career Labs as a company, and then I'm going to add the timeline activity of Career Labs over here. And I'm also going to add my contact Jeevak, because through Jeevak I'm getting a chance to deal with Career Labs, right? So I'm going to do that, and then I'm going to create a deal over here. So once I create a deal, this page must have become really familiar by now. So quickly to understand this page as well, all the activities at this deal level is something that we can see over here. And since this deal is linked with the company on the right hand side and linked with the contact again on the right hand side over here, whatever activities were tracked at this company level or at this contact level, all of that is something that I'm going to see over here. So I'm seeing Jeevak's activity anyway over here because I have marked Jeevak as my contact person with respect to Career Labs, and I also see Abhishek's activity over here because Abhishek is mapped to Career Labs, and Career Labs is something that I've mapped over here to this deal. And just like a contact card or a company card, a deal is also has a lot of properties, and to view any of those properties or to edit any of those properties, you can click on view all properties over here, and you can further edit any of the deal properties at any point in time. So to summarize, in this section, what we have really seen is we have covered the three core concepts or the three building blocks of HubSpot, which is a contact, a company, and a deal. And the way you would really use this is that once you generate a lead, be it within HubSpot or be it outside of HubSpot, you would create a contact because that's your primary SPOC who you're talking to and who you're trying to get a deal with. Once you understand that there is some level of synergy that you have with this contact, there's some problem statement that the contact has come up with, and your product is able to either fully solve that problem or partially solve that problem, that's when you would like to have active conversations with this problem. That is to refer back our deepening relationships using HubSpot. As you create a contact, you would need the contact's email ID to create a contact in HubSpot. In the email ID, you have your email domain, and that domain will be used to create a company automatically for you. So tomorrow, if you were to add more contacts from the same company, you could go to this company page, you can take a look at the activity timeline of that company page, and you will get a consolidated view of whoever you have spoken to from that one company alone. And as you speak to these different people within a company, once you are confident that you have reached a stage where the person is fairly happy with what your product can largely do for them, you now want to open a deal wherein you will actively or you will consciously try pursuing this deal, and you will try to make a sale happen for your own KPIs or for your own benefit. And that's when you go to the deals page, which is under the sales main menu. You would create a deal there, you would link it with the right company and the right contact, and then you would take it through the right kind of stages, right? So those are the three core concepts of HubSpot.